Hello lovelies, I thought it would be fun to jump in today and go through this piece. I apologize if you hear my dog. She's yawning. It's early, we haven't had coffee, but we're here. So anyways, if you follow me on social media on either TikTok or Instagram or Pinterest, you saw that I posted this and I asked for all of your opinions on the colors. Now when I posted it, I had the horse-based colors already done, so you had something to go off of, but I thought it was fun for us to come together as a community and create something, and I absolutely loved all of the opinions that were posted on there, and I definitely have some written down to use in future pieces. That being said, I thought it'd be fun to show you guys the whole entire process behind the piece. So right now I'm just going over that initial base sketch, and I'm trying to just flesh it out a little bit. You can see that I'm struggling with the rider. I still struggled with the rider. At the end of the day, I guess I'm happy with it. I know there are things that can be improved, but they're only going to get improved with practice. So I'm here just trying to practice and do better and get better. And I want to be fully open and transparent and share that with all of you. So now that I've got my base sketch done, I'm just going over and doing my line art. So I knew for this piece, I'm trying to combine a couple of the different ways that I like to work. I know that a lot of you really like my cell shaded style. That being said, I'm trying to add more detail and life and texture into my pieces. So I thought this would be a fun piece to come together and try to strike a balance on that, because it does have those little itty bitty details that I can get into, but it's also a whole complete piece as a whole, and I thought that would be a lot of fun to share with all of you. So I'm just going through and doing my line art. Now, I'll admit there are some things that can be improved, but you know what, like I said, it's practice. The only way you get better is by doing. So I'm here, I'm doing, and I'm sharing. I kept my line art super light for this piece because I wanted to go through and really turn it down and really focus on the shading and the colors and make sure that it was something that I could be good with. It was something that I could be proud of. So I'm just going through, still adjusting that rider. It's still something that I really struggled with, and yeah. You'll see as I go through that I'm just trying to go back and forth and really trying to get this right. And, could you leave critique in the comments? Yeah, but, we're all learning, and if you feel called to do so, go for it. If not, I completely understand. You do whatever you want to do. Also, I'm noticing now at the voiceover that this tail is way too long. And, yeah. My bad. But anyways, so now I'm going in and I'm adding the colors for the horse, and this is where I posted it and asked all of you for your opinions on it. Now, there was a lot of people who wanted either brown tack or navy tack, which I thought would look really cool, but I think brown tack would look a little bit sharper with the warmer tones of this horse, so I decided to go with the brown tack. It was literally a 50-50 split on the vote. So that's what I chose to do. I was like, I'm going to split the decision and we're going to do brown tack. That being said, when I asked for rider clothing and tack colors, as far as saddle pads are concerned, there's a lot of greens and blues and grays and yellows. So I was like, how can I make this happen? So I was like, you know what? I'm really digging Sage right now. Sage and I are just getting along. So I decided to go with this kind of light blue, almost sage-like color. And then I was like, you know what? I can do some grays in the pants, and then we'll do some yellows with some gold accents, because this is a dressage rider. They're all about fun. They're all about fashion. I can put a little sparkle in there. And if you followed my work, you know that I've been loving using these gold brushes. So I was like, I'm going to put that on this piece. So that's what I chose to do. So these are the colors that we all came together to decide to do, and I'm super happy with that. I love how it turned out. I think it was a great choice for this piece. Now, like I said, there are some great other ideas out there, and I do have some of them written down for future pieces. So if you're looking at this and you're like, mine didn't get chosen, it may be in something in the future, so keep an eye out for that. So now I'm going through and I'm just starting to do some of that shading. Like I said, I'm trying to find a balance between the little details and the cell shading that we all know and love. So I was first going to come through with my soft brush, and then I was going to come back and do the cell shading. So what I'm doing right now is going through with that soft brush, which is why it's kind of hard to see a little bit, especially with this zoomed out view that Procreate likes to do. I'm trying to find a better way to record my workflow and do this zoomed out Procreate view without having just hours of footage on my poor little iPad here, but I haven't really figured out the best way to do that yet, so I apologize. Bear with me through this, but you can see that it's starting to come to life as I'm going from the tack to the horse now. So just going through and trying to add some of that in. I really struggled with the mane on this piece as well. I really should have redone the line art, but I had already gotten to this point, I'd already committed to it, so I was like, you know what, just try to make things happen. So, you know, hindsight is 2020. I would have loved to go back and redo the line art on this, but I just decided to keep it. I was like, roll with it, you'll learn from it, you'll grow from it. So that's what I did. So I'm just going through and adding in that soft shading. So for all of my softer shading, I used the square brush. It's just like the default Procreate square paint brush. I don't know, it's like right under the round brush. And that's what I used for most of this. Now for my cell shading, I did use more of like a line art type pen, just because I wanted to get the little points and stuff. But, you know, I didn't really use a whole lot as far as that is concerned. It was just those two brushes and then these gold brushes that I had recently downloaded, which I absolutely love. If I can find the link, I will have it in the description. If it's not there, it means either I didn't find it or I completely forgot about it by the time that I got around to posting this video. So I'm sorry if it's not there. That being said, I'm really actually happy with how the soft shading on this piece turned out. It's something that I've been working towards, it's something that I've been struggling with, it's something that I've been trying to be open and honest with all of you about. As far as what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to find a workflow that I like, a workflow that doesn't take forever, and something that ends up with a result that I'm happy with. Now, I'll admit I have probably 4.5 hours into this piece. So that's 4.5 hours condensed down to 10 minutes. So yeah, thanks Procreate for doing that for me. That's why we love this software. But you can see that I'm going through now and I'm starting to add all of that cell shading in. You can see that spot I missed on the neck. I'm gonna come back. I know it's bothering me too. I'm sure it bothers you. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna fix it. But you can see how through adding that cell shading, it's just giving it that little extra like oomph and dimension and style that I wanted. I knew that this wasn't gonna be a completely realistic piece. I knew that it was gonna be stylized, so it's something that I wanted to really try and capture and create through this. So now that I'm looking at this, that spot on the neck is really bothering me. But anyways, it's fixed now. So voila, there we go. So I'm starting to come through and adding some shading in with that, adding some highlights in with that soft brush. And while they're subtle, you can see how they're really starting to add to the levels of dimension. Each time we do a pass through on the shading, it's getting more and more life, more and more dimension. I found that I really struggle with coming in and getting that value right the first time, and I know that. So I'm like, okay, make sure that you have multiple passes so that you can get the values that you want. So if you're someone who struggles with value like me, just keep that in mind. You may need to do a couple of passes to get that balance right for whatever style it is that you're going for. Like I said, I'm going for a bit more of a stylized piece, so I'm okay with things being a little bit brighter, a little bit darker than they should be. If you're trying to go for something more realistic, that might be something you have to pay a little bit more attention to. But for this piece, for this look, for this style, I love how this turned out. So I'm just coming through now and trying to do some of the cell shading for the highlights. You can see them on the face. I'm starting to kind of work through some of the tack, you know, the neck, just really trying to grab the larger muscle groups that I know there would be a bit more light on. So I'm not trying to get too absorbed into the itty bitty details when I do my cell shading, because I know that's what that soft brush was for. So I'm like, just trust the process, everything will be okay, you'll be all right. So I'm just going through kind of adjusting the balance on some of those layers, and it was at this point when I realized that I want this piece to have background. I was like, you know, I'm really happy about this, I'm actually kind of proud about it, and I want to make like a full scene with it. It's something I don't do a lot, and it's something I want to do more of. So I actually asked all of you on social media again, and you were like, you know, an indoor ring or something in the woods would be really cool. So I was like, what if we do both? I feel like this piece is all about, let's do it all. So I'm just going through here, I'm adding that little half wall, and I was like, how can I bring the outdoors inside? And I was like, we could have these really cool big windows. So here I am going through adding some of the wood in there. I think this is just one of like the textured paint brushes on Procreate. It's not even like a wood brush, but just going through, I'm really using a lot of the default stuff to come in and create this piece. So if you have Procreate, it's something you can totally do, or something similar. But yeah, I just wanted to go through. I was like, I want it to be warm and inviting and just feel like springtime. So it's like, let's do a lot of trees, a lot of green, and just some good like warm morning light. So I'm super happy with how this turned out. I'm glad I did some of the rim shading and eventually did the background. I think it's, you know, was good practice for me, and I'm really happy with how it all turned out at the end of the day. So if you like this piece, I have my socials down in the description below. I would love if you could like, comment, or subscribe to the channel for more art. And here's a video for you to continue watching and continue keeping up with Horses with Coffee.